Okay, great. Let me go ahead and I'll let some line out and we can start the dive.
Sweet.
Let's see. Got lots of different cables going here. Okay.
All the different cables.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Just one sec here. I'm not sure where Kevin took off to, but he's around somewhere. Okay.
All the little particulates we're seeing are a mix of zooplankton and phytoplankton, which gives kind of the greenest cast, as well as just decaying organisms and excrement, which collectively make marine snow, which falls down to the bottom. There's also a fair amount of sediment that gets mixed in, because obviously we're in an estuary where we get lots of fresh water that comes in. Alright, okay, here we go. That's a plumose anemone. The giant orange one is also a plumose anemone. There are two species of them, the giant and a smaller variety. They are pretty tricky to tell apart and both get quite large. The giant just famously gets to be over a meter tall, get enough time to grow.
We're looking good. Yeah.
Just down underneath you here a little bit, there's kind of a cement body boat. There's a huge Nudibranch right in the middle of it on this side. Right down here, it looks like kind of a cement boat with no body.
Okay, maybe we should go check it out.
Nudibranch in there.
Okay.
See if I can find you and take you over to it.
All right. Kevin said he found a nudibranch over by
Nice.
some concrete structure, so we're going to go try to find that.
Are you on the other side of that bay?
I think so. I'll try to come back to the surface and kind of cruise back your way.
Okay.
Let's see. That would
I
be.
think we're right about midpoint here.
Time to go on a nudibranch hunt.
Look how two of them so far. They're big.
Okay, great. Cool. I think we're going to go north a little bit here. Maybe we'll just check out this a little bit as we're going by.
We have to pull out here before too long. My suit flooded.
Oh no.
My gloves came out, I think.
Oh, we have a nice graceful crab, I think, there. Could be red rock. No, with those claws, definitely a graceful. They're named for that kind of nice purple, kind of royal color they get on their shell.
Cool.
Yeah.
I would like that underwater stuff.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's see if we can go find Kevin here. He said his suit actually flooded, so he's got limited time.
Yep. So, for those who don't know, the Puget Sound is quite chilly. Just like the other side of the United States gets a nice warm Gulf Stream that keeps most of it pretty nice and warm. The Puget Sound gets fed by the Alaska Stream or the Arctic Stream that comes down, which keeps it nice and chilly. You can see the temperature that is on the ROV. It says about 55 degrees Fahrenheit, which is actually reasonably toasty for the Sound, especially this time of year. That means most people dive in a dry suit, which means there shouldn't be any water on the inside.
Okay, let's see. I think Kevin's found something to show us here.
So, this is a nudibranch, I believe an opalescent.
Is
Little
this one of
tricky
those
to tell.
shag rug nudibranchs?
It could be shag rug.
Okay.
The finer points of telling nudibranchs comes down to a bunch of minute features they have. Nudibranchs are gastropods, and so they're relatives of snails and slugs. They have just entirely gotten rid of kind of the shell they have.
And what are these circular looking things here?
Those are actually eggs from her.
Oh, wow.
Or them. Most nudibranchs are true hermaphrodites. They have both female and male reproductive organs. They're quite famous for their reproductive behavior. Neither of them wants to carry the eggs because that's a lot of effort to put all that energy into making the eggs. So they actually kind of compete and do what's known as penis jousting. And she laid those eggs, which means she lost that contest and had to carry the eggs. And so she'll lay several clutches in these kind of little circles. So that is a number of nudibranch eggs.
Wow. Really interesting.
That's another set of them. Like many of our invertebrate friends in the oceans, nudibranchs go for quantity in terms of how many eggs and offspring they try and reproduce. And that's also why she lays kind of multiple sets of those clutches of eggs. In case one gets eaten by some type of predator or scavenger, there will be others somewhere else that hopefully can survive.
Ah. That was really neat, that Nudibranch.
Yeah. The eggs are also pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
That was a little, I think, dog whelk snail.
Yeah, take it over to jump out, my suit flooded out.
Okay.
It's getting cold.
Yeah. Kevin's gonna hop out.
Go warm up.
Yeah. And we'll keep checking out this concrete structure and see if there's anything else cool on it.
There's the Nudibranch again.
It looks like it's just kind of hanging out, not really moving right now.
Well, it looks like she's laid at least 3 clutches of eggs. She also looks quite rotund still, so she probably has a couple more
Okay.
to go. So probably just hanging out and resting up to move somewhere else and lay another clutch.
Yeah. It's a really interesting pattern they make with those.
Yeah, they're called kind of egg ribbons is what they're often referred to. So they chain a bunch of them together and make those little circles.
Yeah. It's like this one's all curled up in a ball.
Yep. And so you might notice that like on that block there's a bunch of area that doesn't have anemones and then big clusters of anemones like that. That means that for whatever reason that is a perfect spot for them. Usually means there's like more current or water flow coming over, which brings food to them. So all of the anemones want to hang out there, so they'll form these big clusters together.
Cool.
And all of those are probably decently closely related. Anemones that aren't closely related will commonly attack each other.
Ah. I'm going to come back up to the surface. Maybe we can check out some cool things I was seeing on the pilings and under the dock earlier.
Yeah, we can take a look at those.
It's always interesting to see where it's going to come up because it's really easy to lose track of this thing.
Yep. underwater navigation is pretty tricky, especially when you don't have a ton of visibility, which
Yeah,
in most places
exactly.
in the Sound you don't have. Um, and I imagine it's even more difficult with an ROV because it's not you trying to do the navigation, you're trying to navigate something else.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest challenges with this thing, but it looks like I lucked out here and there's no snags or anything, so I'll take it. Okay, well, let's see. I was seeing some really interesting things under the dock earlier, so I'll try to go over there.
Oh, here we have some feather duster worms.
Yeah, those are really cool looking.
So you can see one got something brushed up against it and kind of withdrew into the tube that protects it.
Is that how they pull their food in when they retract?
Yes.
Okay.
So they'll kind of have them out for a while, and you'll see like little bits in particular that are getting like stuck on these big kind of eyelashes that they have. So they look like, and then once they've collected a lot, they'll pull them in, and kind of scrape everything that's off there and eat it.
Wow.
But obviously they want to protect those too, so if something bigger comes through, they'll withdraw them to keep them from getting damaged.
And are these kind of have a wide range? They're in the tropics too, aren't they?
So different species of them. They're an entire family of marine worms. They're what are known as polychaete worms, which are segmented worms, relatives of earthworms like you find in your garden. The classic polychaete is like a free swimming worm with many of these little seedy, these little kind of paddles on either side of it. The feather dusters are a very specialized group of them that have adapted these kind of special appendages for staying in place and feeding. And so you'll see huge varieties of them in a pretty broad range from like temperate to tropical locales.
Wow.
You'll also find like relatives of them that have some similar adaptations. There's like another group of polychaete worms called Christmas tree worms, which more bore into thing than make those tubes, but have kind of similar feeding apparatus. And they are named that because they look like Christmas trees versus these feather duster ones. Oh, and we have some nice tunicates, I believe, down below. So this is the closest relative that we've seen for us on this dive. Tunicates are members of the same phylum as us, Chordata. We're in the subphylum Vertebrata, so we have a nice hardened backbone. But these guys share a bunch of traits, and in fact, look quite a bit like a regular fish when they're younger. But eventually they decide they want to live the easy life and not do any more of that swimming around and eating. So they will plant themselves some way and transform into this kind of spongy looking thing. But if you look closely, you can see it actually does have internal organs in it, which a sponge would not.
Wow.
That's a nice big feather duster.
Oh.
Well, saw a pile of perch just go across the corner of the camera. But it's swimming off to better places.
Wow. Well, maybe I'll see if there's another spot we can check out now.
Yeah, let's see what else we can find.
Oh no. Kevin's coming back down. Yeah, we're still live, yep. We're gonna go check out maybe this area out in the middle here, and I know there was some cool things last time.
Right on.
Yeah.
Oh, what a bummer.
I know, well, it's been a day of challenges.
It has.
Yeah.
Well, I pulled out of work, out of the water a little bit early. One of my seals popped, and so my suit is full of water, so it's getting pretty cold right now. So I thought I'd come to the surface and let's dry up a little bit.
Yeah. Good idea.
Trouble you for an unzip. I'm gonna go.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna set myself on the bottom here and I'll give Kevin an unzip.
I'll probably get undo my flashlight there.
Totally.
Latched on me
Yeah.
pretty good. A little bit more suit repair today.
Oh yeah. Just try to get myself.
Nature of the beast.
I'm all wired up here. Let's see. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to go get up to the bathroom, change out of this, and we will catch you next week, maybe?
Possibly, yeah. Let's just make by ear.
Okay. Try to get it as soon as we can. Thank you for joining us, Sarah. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Cool. Catch you later.
I'll see you later.
We're getting a pretty good show at the moment of actually one of the Plumos anemone's tentacles responding to food brushing into it. You can often tell what an anemone will eat by the size of its tentacles, so Plumos like to eat very, very small things. They like to eat microscopic zooplankton for the most part. They'll eat bigger things if they can get them. So a bunch of tiny little plankton are brushing up against individual tentacles, and they're responding by firing off little tiny harpoons that they have, which sting and grab and pull them in.
Okay, let's see what else we can find out here. Lots of entanglement, that's for sure.
Yep.
Let's see, let's try to, maybe we'll go down this way a little ways. Oh, very silty here. Pretty challenging out in here to not stir it up too badly. I've got a little bit too much of a negative buoyancy on the ROV right now.
So it's just falling.
It's really kind of challenging to get the buoyancy right this time of the year because it seems like there's quite a bit of fresh water that mixes in with the salt and that changes the buoyancy.
Yep. So obviously all of that rain that we get here in nice rainy Western Washington goes someplace. And that someplace is mostly into the Puget Sound. Some goes more down into the Columbia Basin area, depending on exactly where it falls in Western Washington. But a lot of it ends up in the Puget Sound. So when it is more rainy out, like it is much of the winter, you're getting more fresh water that's going in.
Yeah. Well, I'm not seeing a whole lot to look at out here. I think I'm going to come on back and maybe we can check out some under the dock stuff a little bit more.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Obviously, when the tide comes in or goes out, that also changes how much fresh water is coming in, because that's how much the tide pushes back. We are also currently in a king tide, which means we're getting very big tidal swings.
Oh, okay.
So buoyancy is always going to be shifting a little bit as a result. There's another smaller variety of feather duster worm.
You can really see how they attach themselves to the structure or the dock here.
Oh, we have a nice dock shrimp too.
Yeah.
The barnacle. Most of these like little gray shaggy bits you see coming off, which look kind of like algae, are actually Bryozoans, which are actually an animal.
Wow.
A pretty simple animal, but an animal nonetheless. They use that shaggy kind of texture that they have, much like kind of the eyelash appendages that the feather dusters have to feed. And we have Ariel from the Estuarium also joining us in for a bit. Just connecting to audio now. Hey, Ariel.
Hey.
Checking out some sponge colonies right now.
Ah.
So that's what all that kind of orange growth all over everything is. Microscopic little colonial sponges.
Cool.
A lot better now that there's less people on.
And Matt also moved earlier, and that seems to have fixed it, despite the location he was in before working perfectly fine last week.
Okay.
So we've
Yeah.
been going for a bit now, and it's been going okay.
It's been going okay. I have my speakers are a little bit low. I can barely hear. Did you say Ariel's joined?
Yes, Ariel's come in and join us,
Okay, cool.
so we can see how it's going. Oh, we got a nice ochre starfish there. We also, the diver that was in pulled out early because he popped a seal on his dry suit balloon. So we got a little cold.
Yeah, I would assume so.
But he did, before that, find us some nice nudibranchs that had been laying eggs earlier.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was really cool to see that.
Pretty good clear footage.
Yeah, if you get, it's really nice if you get up and close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Looks like it's heading down the piling.
I think so. Hard to tell without seeing all the legs, which one's playing leading leg.
Let me see if I can get up close on.
So the way sea stars coordinate their movement is each one of their legs, which is generally 5 or some multiple of 5, sends information about what it's seeing. They have little eyes at the end of each one. And when it's smelling, what all those little suction cups, its tubing that hold it on, also smell. And whichever one makes the most compelling argument to the very, very simple brain, a couple of neurons that they have in the center, gets to be in charge for a bit and become what's known as the leading leg. And so you usually see that leg kind of out in front of the others, leading the charge, with the other four kind of trailing behind. And a compelling argument to a sea star is usually, do I smell food in this direction? And do I not smell predators in this direction? Whichever one best qualifies for that gets to win. That little orange spot is its madreporite. That's where it sucks water in and out. Sea stars actually don't have that many muscles or that much musculature, at least. They operate kind of a hydraulic system, which is how they suction on and off of things. So that is the opening where they pump water in to power the hydraulic system.
Some good stuff.
Yeah.
Got a crab?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. That is like just a super purple graceful crab.
Uh-oh.
Oh, decay. That's the reason why we've got so much
That's-
color breakdown.
I was gonna say it's not
dead.
moving.
What I find interesting with these dead crabs in here, I'm not seeing those little tiny, the tiny crabs that are feeding off of them, the little water maggots, whatever their terms would be. But
Yeah.
I usually see just hundreds and hundreds of them on bodies like that, but I haven't seen any of them here today.
Yeah.
They look pretty picked clean, which could be part of it. We did see one dock shrimp earlier. One whole dock shrimp, which is also pretty unusual. Usually there's a few more around if there's one.
Oh, it looks like the sea star's kind of repositioning one of its legs.
Yeah, someone else might be getting to be in charge for a second here.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
If you're on the pylon just down below us, I think there's another one up around the corner too, if I'm not mistaken. There was like 3 of them on the one pillar.
Okay.
They all seem to be the same color, typically about the same size, but they were nice, healthy looking ones too this time.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and,
Where you might be located here.
yeah, I can't remember, it says I'm facing east right now. So I'm gonna try to kind of work my way up the piling. Oh, oh yeah, here's the other one.
It looks like
Okay.
down there.
There was a chitin for a second there. We're looking at.
Rich colors. there.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's definitely, seems like the current is getting a little stronger maybe.
Is it? So out of curiosity, Sarah, are these very typical colors that we have here in this area, or are this common colors as far as these algae or barnacle plants in other areas as well?
So most of this, the bright orange that you're seeing is actually a colonial sponge, as well as the chunks of like purplish pink are also another variety of colonial sponge, or there's a hardened algae that has a very similar color.
Is there a kelp crab on the piling thing?
And in terms of what colors you usually see, it depends on exactly where you are because the Puget Sound varies a lot. And what is going to grow best and form kind of your benthic layer, the layer that kind of lives on top of anything hard, or your sedentary layer anyway, will vary depending on all those factors like amount of fresh water and depth and temperature, activity,
Yeah, it's as loud as it
current.
gets.
Huh. Awesome. There you are.
Yeah, just making sure I'm not wrapped around the piling or anything here. Looks good. Well, I've been doing pretty good today and not getting tangled.
That's a hard one.
It is, yeah. Well, let's see what else we can check out around here. I'm not sure how much more time we want to spend exploring, but I'm game.
I don't have a meeting till 2, so
Okay.
I'm good.
We can keep looking around, testing stuff,
Let's
see how long the connection holds out.
see. Yeah.
So which dock are you under right now, Matt?
We are under, it's the closest one to, there's a big boat hoist out there.
Yep.
So kind of right down from there, and there's the Marina office. We're really close to them.
Okay.
What about midpoint of that?
And what was the other position that worked well last week and didn't end up working this week?
Yeah, it worked really well the last time we were out here, and I think this is a good spot. But maybe since I have this streaming app going, and then the Zoom meeting, it's kind of taxing the connection or something. So
Yeah, we can try just doing it on Zoom maybe at some point.
Yeah, that's what we talked about the last time when we were at Boston Harbor, was just using it off of like our one computer, having him hooked up to the computer that was streaming out to the schools.
I think that would work better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can
I
try
think
testing
would
that out.
Definitely work better. We also, so we are playing around with a better jetpack.
Okay.
So hopefully that will help us boost the system a little better too.
Cool.
So we can-
Yeah, it's definitely it's a lot to bring together, to coordinate, to get it all to work, and then working
That's
with.
what my meeting at 2:00 is, to have an update with our grantor all about our progress here. So it was good timing to see this streaming.
Oh, nice. That's great. Yeah.
And other than the hiccups at the beginning after moving, it's been going pretty good.
Yeah.
Got some beautiful feather dusters. Wow.
And for the diving, I'm crazy and doing it in a wetsuit, so I won't have to worry about floods.
That's the next thing. I gotta work on lighthouse diving and see what we can do about Shelby's suit and weights, because she needs a suit and weight
Yeah.
for her dive.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely have to figure out some type of headphones to wear, I think, so I can hear everything.
Or better.
Here.
That shouldn't be too bad.
Depending on how much weight Shelby needs, I also might be able to have enough extra weight for her.
Weights. Okay.
But obviously, I don't have an extra suit that's gonna work.
Yeah, no, I gotta get a hold of her to see what all specs she needs, so I can get a hold of the dive shop to talk about possible sponsorship.
They can do our
Or-
air for free.
Yeah, that would be nice.
We get a midpoint out there in that channel in between the two bays here.
Yeah.
There were some of those nice little pretty delicates that were out there
Oh,
too. A few of
okay.
them had just really unique little spot patterns on their shell.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll cruise out there and check that out.
That sounds
Yeah.
So
nice.
pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's tons of feather dusters under the docks. It's very pretty.
Wow. Boy, that's even better in my eyes. Let me see under there. That's awesome.
My favorite tube worm are the ice cream cone ones because they have gold eyelashes that they use to rake out plankton. They're
I don't think
beautiful.
so. I sent her the link, so maybe she's tuned in a little bit. Yeah, I wonder if these feather dusters do well on the docks too, because the docks are always kind of moving around a little bit.
That and probably also just the verticality
Uh-huh.
gets them up off the bottom, which is helpful for them. They also, especially these ones, which you can see kind of stretch out. We also saw earlier the ones that kind of coil closer to the docks and have like a more attached body. But particularly these ones that stretch out a long ways need something really, really solid to anchor onto. So nice, heavy wood and metal and rubber is good for them.
Yeah.
But still no sightings of any mer people, huh?
Haven't seen any.
I'm looking every time.
Yeah. Well, I'll go
Was
out
it
in
a
the
sea
middle
squirt?
Yeah, we saw those are some tunicats we saw earlier too. Sea squirts.
Ascidians.
Yes.
Just out of this bay, out into the middle, there was some of the debris.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to lose that in the water.
Yeah.
But out there were some really pretty. They were about 3 inches around, but they're kind of tucked up underneath stuff. But they were very stunning. I mean, just very
Okay.
colorful. More so than what I've seen the delicates to be.
Some variety of small
Right
fish
down in
there.
That's where I was in that middle of that.
Okay.
And there's some pretty little tiny people out there, or tiny creatures, not people.
Shiny little things.
All the lovely marine snow.
If you wouldn't mind letting out a
Plymouths.
couple more feet of tether for me, that would be great.
You bet. Absolutely.
See all the fish fleeing.
Mm-hmm. Those eggs?
I think that's garbage.
I think
Garbage,
so.
a lot of garbage.
I thought I saw a crate with a bunch of stuff on it.
All the plumos on top of an egg crate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets you up in the current, you know? Brings all that plankton to you.
Artificial reefs.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I keep wanting to take a lot of the garbage out, but there's so much life on some of that, I'm a little nervous about harming anyone.
Mm-hmm. One's full of silt. Wow.
It's been there a long time.
Yeah.
Got nice and varied. Hello there, crab.
There's a live one.
Pretty good size.
Definitely not phased by me at all.
Nope.
I gotta work
I'm
on
out of
my
the si-
buoyancy a little bit.
Once you get to a certain size, crabs can be a little fearless.
What is that curve? Got a painted anemone on the other side.
Oh, yep. Up ahead. Oh, that lovely, lovely silt.
Have you come across a big sea cucumber that was down there too?
Oh, did you see one
Yeah,
earlier?
he was probably good 18 inches. You're beautiful, a
Whoa.
little bit silty on top, but he was roughly in that same realm too.
Okay,
I wondered if maybe you come across him or not,
that'd be neat.
or her, whichever.
Tree.
Okay.
So they come in all sorts of
Bright
color. The
colors.
classic green and red is why they're called Christmas tree anemones. But the actual trait that you can usually tell apart is those bands on the tentacles. No matter what color they all, they'll always have banded tentacles to some degree.
So Sarah, here's a question. Why do we see more Palumos anemones rather than like our painted anemones?
So it comes down to what you eat. Plumose anemones are specialized in eating tiny little plankton. That's why they have such nice fine tentacles. And there's a lot of plankton in the ocean. It's why all of our biggest things in the ocean eat plankton. Our largest whales, all of our misticete whales, like blue whales and gray whales, kind of focus on eating that, as well as our biggest sharks. So there's just a lot more of that food available for them.
I
so
just
it's
got out a little bit
a
ago.
lot
My shoe
easier
floated out.
for them
What
to
kind of
more diver
reproduce
in the water?
successfully
earlier, yeah.
and thrive.
Not right now, though.
Painteds prefer
Okay,
larger
we're coming
prey
through the boat.
items like
Oh,
shrimp
yeah.
or fish.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So as a result, we
Yeah.
don't tend to see as many.
Okay, I should probably bring it
The
up then.
plumose are also part of it is just where we visit in the ocean.
Okay.
Plumose anemones are pretty well adapted to
I'm
being
gonna
in pretty
go ahead and
shallow
pull
water.
it in just because it seems like they're
So
bring it
they're,
up
they're
the
better
boat.
at being exposed and stuff like that. So when we're not too deep like we are now, we'll see lots of plumose.
I'm gonna start heading on out of here.
Got a crab moving.
Crab legs slowly leaving. And away we go. So that's the bird spin. It's been pretty stable. There's been a couple points of choppiness, like I think you just saw just a bit ago.
Yeah.
Where it would break up, but it's been pretty good.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
I would love to test this in the beginning of February at Boston, but doing this setup, so having Matt set up on my computer and then streaming out a Zoom webinar
Yeah.
from
And
there to see the stability.
And ideally not have poor public test subjects like I did this time, but I think we should try and get staff or friends and family
so
to sign in. To
I
try
have
the
guinea
connection.
pigs. I have
Okay.
guinea pigs. So Faye Peoples has offered up her and her 5 daughters.
Perfect. Just because
So, yeah.
I want to see how it works with
Yeah.
people.
I think by having him streaming off of like the laptop. Well, it's not even streaming like to the laptop because he hooked up his HDMI into the laptop last time, and then just having the laptop streaming from there, so it's not having to do extra processing. I think will definitely help on that.
Yeah. No,
And then also having the jetpack will help boost us out
Yeah.
too.
We'll do a little something here. We're gonna do a little conclusion here now, and then
Okay.
we'll end the stream. So I'm just gonna change back to the webcam here. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been kind of a interesting session, but I think we had a good time. So, yeah.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, Sarah. Thank you so much. You brought a
Yeah.
tremendous asset to this whole thing. We appreciate you. I'm shivering. My suit
Fun.
flooded out, so I'm going to head on over to Symbiopolis and go get a hot stone treatment, I think. Warm up a little bit.
That sounds
Thank you
good.
so much. We will catch you
Sounds
hopefully
fun.
next week.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
guys. Take care.